What is up, fellas and lady fellas? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Tonight, it's like literally 4 a.m., but I'm fucking wild, so we're recording this video super early, I guess super late, whatever it is. Anyway, we're doing a winners and losers list for the ban list. The ban list came out a couple days ago. Hasn't been too long. It's been like, I don't know, 3 days since the list dropped, but I've had a couple days to kind of mull it over and really think about who is what, who is a winner, who's a loser, who's neutral, all that stuff. And so we're going through it today to just discuss a little more in depth. So, you know, here's a quick overview of the ban list. Not going to spend too much time on this. We already did a whole video on that, but let's just get right into it here. So, starting off with the winners. We'll start with the winners because we'll make it happy, and then we'll get a little sad a little later on. So let's start with all the meta decks that just kind of dodge the ban list, because I used to think it to myself, yeah, you didn't get hit on the ban list, but you didn't get anything off the ban list that makes you better. Well, when you're already in the meta, you can't complain. Not getting hit on the ban list when you're already a tier 1 or even a tier 2 deck, you'll take it. That's a win in their books. So, as far as the tier 1 stuff that really just didn't get hit at all, we start with Shaddoll Invoked, also including the Invoked stuff here. A lot of people were really expecting something here to get hit, whether it was going to be Wind Up, because it's just such a strong card and it can just win duels by itself. Or maybe some people thought like Meltdown might go to 1 or something, just because Meltdown is another card where it's a little bit degenerate, not being allowed to respond to your opponent's fusion cards as well as the fusion summons is like really, really tough. So a lot of people thought there were going to be some hits there, but there weren't. They dodged it completely. I'm surprised. You're surprised. We'll have to see. Part of it might be because the new invoked monster is coming in Tourneyco, and they might be trying to sell that a little bit in a month, but who knows? They dodge it for whatever reason, and they're still here to stay. Next up is Rockets, or I guess like Dragon Link, whatever you want to call this deck. A lot of people thought LP might get hit. Same thing. The OCG just got their ban list. LP gone. We get Destrudo, which is a mini hit, but I don't think that's significant enough. That was already a card that I think when you look at the overall list for Guard Dragons, you're like, that card can go. That card's not super necessary. It's nice, but it's not super necessary. So the deck can totally function without it. I think this is a win for this deck. Anyway. Next up is Salim Man. This is another deck, a deck that's been floating for a while. I mean, we got Mirage Stallion hit in the last list, I believe. Yeah, that was the last list. But other than that, didn't kill the deck. The deck's still solid. I'd still say it's a solid tier 1 contender, not the best deck by any means, but I think it can wrestle with any of the best decks in any given day. And it doesn't do anything degenerate. I don't like it. We had this problem even before Mirage Stallion got hit of like, even if this deck was too good, like, what do you even hit without just having to hit like 3 cards at once just to hurt consistency, right? Like, we put Gazelle to 1. We know if we ban Gazelle or something like Wolf, like the deck's just dead. So like, what do you do? So, but it's here, and I agree with this. I don't think it does anything overly degenerate. It's just a good grindy deck that wants to take duels to a couple turns, but can do a decent job at closing out at times. So I think it's a fine deck, and it's here. We're here to stay. And the last deck, as far as like the tier 1-ish stuff that I would say is like sticking around, is Dinosaurs. I definitely thought Dinosaurs had a good chance of getting hit on this list as well. Same thing with a lot of people. My pick was at least just to put Fossil Dig to 1. I don't think this deck is like overly a problem, but if enough stuff got hit and we get like the new Argosaurus monster in the next set that makes Miscellaneousaurus just need to banish itself to get it out, which is kind of crazy. You don't even have to have any other setup engraved. The deck could become like a little bit too good a little bit quick. So I thought they might at least just put Fossil Dig to 1, just to hurt the consistency a little bit. It wouldn't even be that crazy of a hit, but Fossil Dig is Rhoda. Like, it literally is. It's not once a return. It searches anything level 6 or lower. The only thing you could argue is that Dinosaurs are just a less developed archetype, or just type in general, than Warriors. So, like, that's the only argument there, but still, you could literally have open 2 and just go 1 for Oviraptor, 1 for Miscellaneousaurus, and you just play. It almost doesn't matter what your opponent's hand traps are, you're just going to play, which is just really, really strong. So, Dinosaurs, I definitely thought were going to get hit, but they didn't. They're alive. We're good to go. Moving forward. So next up, we're going to talk about the more tier 1.52-ish decks that also dodge a list, because I do think they're still meta relevant. So we'll go through them pretty quick, though. Subterra Guru, like no changes on here affect this deck. I love this deck, by the way. Mwah. Altergeist, same thing. Like literally nothing on this list hurts them at all, other than like other top decks getting weaker. Pendulums. If anything, at this point in time, pendulums are getting better just because Salim just came out and then the ban list didn't hit them. But overall, I'm just going to say, like, they're good. They didn't move. Like, the ban list didn't bring Salim back. They just happened to get it at the same time. But pendulums are looking pretty good as a solid deck going forward, as well as Orcas. This is an interesting one here because we are in a month going to be getting Mech Knight Orcas Gearsu. So I was kind of curious if they were going to do anything there because, like, Union Carrier is also a really strong card for the deck. But the deck also hasn't been doing anything as of late, like nothing crazy. It's done like really miniature stuff. But also people thought Dragon Buster would get hit because this deck is a very good deck that can abuse Dragon Buster to lock your opponent out of the extra deck. Just crazy strong. We'll see how that goes in the future, but the deck is free for now. And the last one I want to mention here is Heroes. I know what you might be thinking is, John, Malicious went to 2. And I'm here saying, I know, dude, all right? I still think the deck is fine. I think that hit is like it matters. It definitely matters with certain plays and trying to get out Plasma super consistently. But I think overall, like, I don't think it's going to make the deck that much worse. If anything, it helps the consistency because you could play something that makes the deck more consistent instead of like a brick like Malicious is in the hand and play from there. I think it'll just be fine. I think it's like a minuscule hit, and the deck also gets a bump for Master Roll 5, just being able to fusion summon wherever, not worrying about zones as much. So I think it's like take a little, give a little, all that stuff. And then we move over to the last like miscellaneous decks that actually got better from releases. We'll start with Mermales. Nothing too crazy. I mean, this is literally just Diva to 3. Now that you have 3 Diva and Neptibus, so the deck can actually pop off a decent bit more consistently now. And then we also have DC Diva coming in a month, so that'll be an archetype that definitely would go onto this, just knowing that Diva is at 3 ready for that archetype to come out. We'll see if it does anything, but we'll address that when we get there. But the deck definitely gets a little tiny buff here. Sky Striker. This one I think is pretty good as well. I think we're getting Widow Anchor to 2, which does matter because now you have 4 Widow Anchor activations with multi-roll instead of just 2 in a duel, and you're just more consistently opening up a card that can give you Disruption or board breaking potential. Just a good card, as well as Avarice. This is a deck that really can abuse the hell out of Avarice super easily. In one turn, you can easily get 5 monsters in the grave. Obviously, you don't really want to be shuffling back Rays and Roses, but like for a draw 2, it might be worth it. Who knows? So I do think overall it is a buff, and so this deck is looking a little bit better. I don't think it'll be doing anything crazy, but maybe we'll see it getting on the regional scene soon again, fairly consistently. And then the last deck, this is probably the big one, is Zodiac, with Dryden coming off the list. Even though Barrage went to 1 as well, the deck has a play. Dryden not only helps abuse certain combos with Ram and stuff, but also it's just a disruption. It is now, you have disruption as well as board breaking capability, as well as a combo extender. Like, this card is everything. Even at 1, the deck has Zodiac combo, the deck has Daigusto Emerald, the deck has 3 copies now of Pot of Avarice. So getting this card back into your extra deck is no hard feat in this deck. There may be times where you can't, but still, you've got this, and then you can also work on Mega Clops as just a easy win condition as well, just taking easy wins versus certain decks. But yeah, Zodiac is looking clean. I don't think it's going to be tier 1 or anything, but I am excited to try it out in this new form of BANLIST style that we have now. So yeah, that's pretty much it for all the winners in my eyes. Obviously, there's going to be more, but like, there's whatever. We'll get to that. Like, well, not even, but like, we'll talk about later. All right, getting to the losers, let's start with the tier 1 decks that are definite losers here. Lunalights. I don't even know if this deck is playable anymore, but it definitely is not looking anywhere near as strong. With Tiger just getting completely banned, I thought this card might go to 1 so that you at least can't do like the double Tiger situation, which just feels completely and utterly too good. Hits consistency as well as the power of getting 2. They just went ahead and just gone. I don't even know if this deck can play, but even if it does, I don't think it's tier 1 after this, and we'll have to see if it can do anything, but definitely a huge hit to Lunalight. Tough. All right, spirals are next. This is another one where I'm like, I don't even know if this deck can play without Master Plan, because as far as I've seen, Spiral, its whole strategy with Master Plan was just loop Master Plan, search a gajillion cards, and then end with a big link board as well as Sleeper, and then say, come and get it. Without that, I don't know how much of a link board they can set up. They can obviously still get to Sleeper. I don't know how easy it is now to get Sleeper with 3 Spiral cards engraved now, but there's definitely some stuff. I don't know if the deck can play. Maybe you play a more control-ish style strategy, maybe a going second strategy using like the Super Agents and Tough to like to remove cards, and then you drop a Sleeper or something. I don't really know, but I'm curious to see where players take it, and definitely a huge hit as far as the comboing aspect of this deck. Next up is anything Synchro. Now this is mainly just talking about Trishula and TG Hyper Librarian as well as Destrudo. Those are like the big ones, and even you could throw Global and Steam the Cloak in there as well. But this is just anything that really wanted to like turbo Synchro. If you're trying to turbo through multiple Trishulas, hand loop your opponent, nah. If you're trying to go through multiple Hyper Librarians, draw a bunch of cards, If you're trying to use Destrudo to get easy Synchro 7s, not as easy. You're going to have to do it a different way. So just overall, Synchro decks in general, anything that wanted to abuse this kind of stuff, I feel like a decent amount of them fall into the same category. They're going to miss out here. So definitely a hit to them. Just want to mention those real quick. And then we get to some more questionable ones. So whether you believe in it or not, or agree with the hit, ABC's got a hit very preemptively before they've actually been doing anything on any kind of competitive scene. I understand the worry. I think the deck gets a little bit better, a little more like, it gets a little more utility in terms of how its plays can go with the new Master Rule. So I think they're worried about that, as well as they already have new support. They just got Union Carrier in like 2.5 weeks. They're going to get the quick play spell that can just equip any of your pieces like straight from deck as a quick play, which is really nice. And then you were also getting Union Driver in Eternity Code. So like we kind of got 3 pieces of support right in a row. So I understand Konami's concern, but man, they don't even give us one format to see if this even could be good. And I'm not even sure this is even going to be bad. I don't think this deck is dead. I just think once you use your one Buster, if you can't get it back into your extra deck, you're probably just going to be in a position where instead of trying to go into another ABC Dragon Buster, you're going to have to make it work with the 3 pieces you got back and the pluses you're able to get off of those, and just work with that. Make link plays, make rank 4 plays, instead of going into a second Buster. Or maybe you focus the deck more around getting Buster back and then just trying to like cycle him, like in Zodiacs, getting Dryden back and back with combo and stuff. So that may be the thing, but it's definitely a hit. It's definitely a shame. I would have liked to see this deck, what it can really do with everything, all the new support and stuff, but looks like we might not get to see that. But hopefully it can still do some cool things. Now, Frogs kind of fall into the same category here, with Toad going to 1. This really hits like mostly Paleozoics, because not that many, like even if decks wanted to splash the Bahamut play with the new Master Rule to get out Toad, they're usually just splashing a package of 1 Toad, 1 Bahamut. So this hit doesn't do anything to those decks per se. It's mainly just hitting Paleozoics. So that's mainly the thing, is just hitting, because like putting 2 Toad on the field is pretty busted in Paleos, I'm not gonna lie. Just because on standby you get 2 free specials, which would probably be 2 free Death Frogs, or Dupe Frogs, not Death, Dupe Frogs, which then essentially is locking your opponent out of the battle phase, and you have 2 Omni Negates, and if your opponent is able to remove either of them, they float back either into a swap. They could load themselves back in the extra deck so you can go back into them again, whatever. Putting them in 1 doesn't really hurt that bad, because when it gets sent, it can just put itself back. Not the craziest thing in the world, but it's mainly just trying to hurt the capability of putting 2 on the board at the same time, because I think Konami just thinks that's too powerful overall of a play. And I understand that, but yeah, it hurts. Definitely hurts the deck that hasn't really done much as of late. But I don't think the deck's dead and really too much. It's just its power play is just now a pretty good boss monster that they have to resource well. And then I'm also going to throw Sharks in here. So Shark is a strategy I was actually looking at. This is a weird one. I just wanted to mention it because I'm excited for Sharks. That was one of the very few decks that actually could abuse double Bahamut Shark. Not a ton of strategies can double Bahamut Shark, but that deck definitely could. So that's another deck that like specifically seems like it might have gotten hit here with like not being able to go into the double Toad and have double Bahamut, because that's just like kind of wild. So I understand that, but yeah, I just wanted to mention it real quick. And then the last loser we have for today, I'm going to throw Blackwings out there. And this is a really interesting one because I don't think anybody's going to notice. And what I mean by that is that this deck has done almost exactly nothing. And now it might be doing things. But I think it's just coincidental that we're going in, not even coincidental, but like it's just going to happen to be that we're going to Master Rule 5. So this very Synchro-based deck is going to have more plays and be better just off of that. But they also lost Steam the Cloak, which is a pretty good starter and normal summon and just extender. Like, it pretty much represented 3 bodies on board to make powerful link plays, to go into Appaloosa with 3-4 negates, to get into Needle Fiber, to special out your other tuners to then get you into the other synchros you really wanted to get into. Like, it was a really, really nice card and had more utility in this deck than a lot of other synchro decks as far as Needle Fiber goes, because also you have so many different level tuners in the deck, so you kind of get the utility of picking whichever one is best for whatever situation. I just think people aren't going to notice it, so it's definitely not going to be as good as it could have been with Steam, but I don't think people are going to notice because it's going to be better than it was for the last 2 years, just because we're not in the Link era, or I guess Master Rule 4 era anymore. So kind of a weird one, but I did want to mention it there. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for all of our winners and losers of the ban list. Obviously, guys, there could have been a ton. If I wanted to make a video talking about every single tiny deck that moved a little bit up the scale or down the scale with any of these hits on the ban list, this would have been a 2-hour plus video. So what I'm saying is, if you had anything that you think I missed and you think is something worth noting, definitely throw it in the comments down below. I always like it when you guys are commenting on the videos. But yeah, that's going to sum it up for me here today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet and you want to see more stuff from me. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video.